Hey, it's the champ Antonio Tarver. You're listening to Tarver's Take, the most informative take in boxing. Just remember where you heard it first. I want to dive right in, man. This week, this Saturday, live from Philadelphia. It's the Boots Ennis defending his title against a very tough and proven to be tough David Avanesyan. But when I look at this fight, man, I think this fight is about one thing. It's really about the Terrence Crawford fight that he had against David Avanesyan. And I was able to be right there ringside commentating that fight. I think that was BLK Prime in Oklahoma when we went up there to, Omaha, Nebraska. When we went up to Omaha and covered that fight, I was able to commentate that fight and was close to the action. And I learned a lot from that fight. I learned a lot from both guys. I learned that, David has heart. He's a very tough guy. He punch selection is good too. He really throws his punches well. He has that one overhand shot that hits you on top of the head, sort of like GGG had that patented shot that he had when he was, out there and active, fighting Canelo and all those guys. That overhand shot, catch you right on top of the head. That you got to be careful. He was attempting to land that shot a couple of times on Crawford. But it was a real competitive fight, I must say. And Crawford was able to take it up a notch or two and really set up a devastating knockout punch. If you haven't seen that fight, go back and check it out, man. But up until that knockout, Avanesyan was giving Crawford some competitive rounds. I mean, really mixing it up with him, exchanging. He was trying to land some shots himself. He caught Crawford with a couple shots, but again, Crawford with the solid chin, really, it didn't affect him that much. He just knew that he had to step on the gas a little bit and take it up a couple notches. When you're the class in the fight, you feel me? You always should be able to take it up a couple notches, on your opponent and get to a place where he can't reach. You feel me? And Crawford was able to do that. And what I'm afraid of in this fight is that Team Ennis, man, will be focused so much on how Crawford performed and trying to outdo Crawford or do as well as he did when you compare the two fights. I think that can get him a little bit distracted, on the guy in front of him. You know what I'm saying? I think when you look at the talent, the skill set of a guy like Boots Ennis and a guy like Terrence Crawford, very few fighters have that ability. You feel me? Have that ability. No matter how long they've worked, trained, and prepared, very few fighters have those type of skills. You feel me? Very rare. When I look at Crawford, and we got to compare the two because we've been doing the comparisons for so long. You feel me? And when you look at where Crawford is at this time, used to be the undisputed welterweight champion. It's kind of like champion in recess right now. Even though Boots is nipping at the doorstep, he's sort of like a champion in recess because we don't know what weight class Crawford is really going to campaign in after his next fight. You feel me? He's already scheduled to move up to 154. He's facing a tough guy in that fight. But far as Boots Ennis, Jaron Boots Ennis, making a possible fight with Crawford, pound for pound type of fight, everything is riding on this fight. You know what I mean? How he looks, how he performs. But we don't want to lose eyesight of the guy in front of us looking past him to Crawford. Because when you look at it, Crawford at 54, he may not come back to 147. It's a possibility that he could find his, comfort at 154 and say, hey, I'm going to stay here. I'll have a better chance, of getting my body acclimated to this weight rather than trying to kill myself going back down. And I've heard, some echoes, from Philadelphia, and everyone is mentioning, how drawn and it may be emaciated that, Boots Ennis is looking right now at 47. So a lot of people don't know how long Boots is going to be able to carry 47 comfortably. We'll know more, after tomorrow night, after the performance that he put on, and we can all do our, we can, gauge it then. But if Boots it finds himself in a tough, fast fight early, and have to rely on that conditioning to maintain down the stretch, it could be challenging. We don't know if it's going to go that far, get that far at all. But I'm just saying, when you're drawn and emaciated and you struggle to make weight, the longer that fight goes, the more contested that fight is. You know what I mean? Maybe that conditioning, maybe just, hurting yourself to lose so much weight, you know what I mean? That could cause a problem. If a fight is fast and hard and it's really tough, you know what I mean? A lot of times, you start second guessing yourself, especially if you're getting cracked like you haven't been hit before and you're getting hit more frequently than normal. You feel me? That you start to question yourself. And when you're putting those type of thoughts in the back of your mind, the fight can get a lot more challenging than expected. But I don't foresee that. I think, if the weight has been an issue, I think he gets by this fight. He wins this fight looking good and impressive. And then he has to think about, what it's going to take, to continue to make 47, especially when you start fighting a top tier talent in that weight class. You know what I mean? And showing up 147 looking like that against a guy like Crawford is a total different, you feel me, assessment altogether. You feel me? Now, the guy he was first scheduled to fight, Crowley, man, I was really concerned about that fight because I felt that I didn't think after watching Crowley last couple fights that he could, avoid the inevitable, and that's getting whacked and getting cracked with some serious shots. I think Crowley has a lot more heart than he has, skill set. You feel me? And putting him in there with a killer like, Boots Ennis, man, Jaron Boots Ennis, that would have just been, I thought it was a gross mismatch. You feel me? I thought it was grossly mismatched, and I'm glad that fight was pushed back, and I'm glad they went with a guy that's more proven to be able to fight back and survive or manage to make it through some tough rounds. I think Avanesyan is that guy, David Avanesyan, and if Jaron Boots Ennis isn't on his best game, we might be able to see a few holes, you feel me, tomorrow night. Not that, those holes are going to allow him to sink, but just thinking that maybe seeing other fighters in front of them, maybe you could say, oh, I think this fighter could have been effective there. Oh, if that would have been Crawford, we'll be able to, draw some comparisons from a guy like David Avanesyan for sure. I'm hearing from Boots camp that this fight isn't even going 4 rounds. So when I hear Bozy, talk like that, and he's putting that number out there, that shows that they're confident in their guy, But again, and when I look at it, when I put it under microscope, I'm thinking that maybe they're so locked in on the comparison from Crawford fight that could, distract him a little bit. I don't want to see that. So I want them to stay focused, not really worrying about what Crawford did in the David Avanesyan fight, not trying to outdo Crawford or knock him out in a more dramatic fashion. I mean, that can get you thrown off your game. You feel me? And can distract you a little bit. And you don't want to go into a fight like this. It's your first title defense. You got a homecoming in Philadelphia. That's always sometimes people don't fight as well as you think at home because of the distractions, because of the demands. And, it's a lot of people that he knows in Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to have to be fielding those calls, man, looking for tickets, looking for this and looking for that. You can't help everybody, especially on fight weekend, so close to home, man. You're going to have to really protect and guard yourself, protect and guard your focus. You feel me? You got to have a solid team around you in order to do that. And I think he has that, in his team that he has. But yeah, man, Philadelphia is going to be on fire this weekend, man. They got one of the best fighters in the game putting on, and they all want to see that Crawford fight, man. And I don't blame them, man. I think these are two of the most gifted fighters in the game today, and I'm hoping that, one day soon, maybe by next year, we can have a Terrence Crawford, Jaron Boost Ennis type of showdown for all the marbles and all the belts, man. But a lot has to happen right. A lot has to go right, for that fight to happen. But I'm going to keep my prayers up, man. I think that'll be one to see. You feel me? And a one to look forward to, for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world, man. That reminds you guys, the fights like Tommy Hearn, Sugar, you feel me, back when they had the 4 kings in the welterweight division. So, but right now we just got 2 kings on top of the division, and really looking to do some great things in the near future. If we can get this Crawford and Ennis fight, man, and that would be one feather in the boxing world cap, I tell you, man. But there you have it, man. You've listening to Tarver's Take. Until the next time, stay tapped in. And if you haven't gone over to YouTube, please go over to YouTube, like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tarver's Take, the most informative take in boxing. Just remember where you heard it first. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.